Hey y'all, how are you doing? It's Evan with Fifth Third Trading. Today is Tuesday 12/15. We're going to have some plays tomorrow for you, which is Wednesday 12/16. If you are a beginner trader and you want to get some new information, I'm the guy for you. If you are an intermediate trader, you want some more mid-cap stocks to kind of pad your stats with these NIOs and plugs, I'm that guy as well. If you're a 9-to-5 trader just like me, I'm a teacher during the week. I also have a weekend job because I'm broke. I also cater to you. I have stocks that I do not check all day. I can check my Webull account once or twice a day and not stress, right? That's the key. This is supposed to be a learning experience. It's supposed to be positive. If it's not, you're not going to stick with it. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing, sharing, hitting the like notification, all those kinds of great things. With no further ado, let's get into it. So as mentioned before, above me is going to be our calls for the week. Now, there were some red ones the other day, but as you can see, SWI, a lot of y'all pointed out was a bad call. I didn't say it was either really a good call or not. I just know some folks really enjoy, these sell-off plays. I just do technicals. I don't really do fundamentals. So you guys calling that out. See how I live there? I thought, oh, here we go. But it wasn't. But besides that, new today, snack. Even NIO we called yesterday. We called right about here. You'd have a good little percentage here. So yesterday's calls look pretty good. For today, our first call, and ironically one from a video I made today, AEYE. Now when I was filming, it was around here, and I was like, yo, this is a good call. But sadly, it's up 8% since then because it's reality, and I can't just tell you guys all the time. So I'm going to make a Discord chat eventually and all that. Hold your horses, one social media platform at a time. But AEYE has a fantastic channel. It looks like it's making a ascending triangle. This just shows that these two lines, again, these channels are well off because these tip top touch, and then these also touch. So it is halfway up his channel. Technically, it could fall another 19%, but you could also easily make 17% here. Now, of course, with a stop loss, you wouldn't lose 19%. That'd be ridiculous. But you would probably just want to put a stop loss beneath $19, 2.59 away. Potentially, as this trend line kind of goes up as time goes on, you can use that as well. But again, the price action is beautiful. Eventually, it's going to break above 22. Right, 22, low, up, higher, low, up, higher, low than over here, up, higher, low. So it's showing higher, low in life, and it's going to break eventually. Let's check the indicators. So they look good. The reason is the 50 MA is what it likes right here, and the 200 bounced off of. So if it wants to go for another 50 MA bounce, I'm assured, because it came up and now it's technically downtrending. Don't let this fool you. It's not uptrending technically. It's still uptrending, but it's part of a downtrend right now, because it went all the way up and now it's coming back down. So it did touch here and it's going back up. So we really don't know which way it's going to go. Maybe it's still coming down to kind of do like a dupe lingo, or it's going up, down, up. We don't know. But the MA line is strong here. The stochastic is still face down, so once that curls, that'll be really good. MACD is just going up as always. Volume was really good the other day. It's really low today, so I wouldn't be too concerned about this red candle. But the RSI isn't a very fair price either. Worst case, you just wait for it to go up and tap and come back down, but you may miss this move. Eventually, this is going to blast off above this volume line here, or this resistance around $23. This is going to take off eventually. The question is, can you get a good entry and then hold on to it? But AEYE is a great choice. I know. CRK is back. We just come over here. And it's been, I said this channel is going to be abused, and I've been doing it, 1, twice, 3 times, 4 times. This last one was still 8.9% in a day. And here we are again. All right, so we tapped down, and it's kind of dying off, but again, it did this before, and then, blasted above it. CRK, though, is a little bit different because we can come over. And it depends on what school of thought you're in. You could definitely say long-term from up here and over. Do you see how those kind of match up? They're close. But they're not perfect, so I'm not going to use that. Let's put the line up there. But you do this, All right, technically it's going to be in a downtrend still for a while, but as of recently, you can connect these right there to make it more perfect. Extend right, and as you can see, as of today, it broke above that. We've been abusing this channel over here, so we finally have made a move above it. Is this retesting that downtrend? If so, that's a fantastic sign. Given the channel life, the support, and that, technically, it makes me excited. PG-13. Let's check the studies. And the studies look good, honestly. It needs to break the 50. You see it respects the 200, and that's coming closer. But again, as I talk about, as the 200 gets closer and within limits, like how it kind of lived here, because of the 50 and it got closer and took it over, that's when we really saw some big moves happening, right? So once it crosses both, it makes massive moves. So that's going to be for a while. We're still a few weeks away from that happening, unless we see some massive fundamental news. RSI is a fair price. That's okay. Stochastic is showing, I guess, if you wanted to be like semantics, it's a little bit of a divergence, but it's not big enough for me to make a defiant yes or no. And then, of course, MACD's been flattening, which shows a chance for a big explosion here. So indicators aren't really for or against you. They're all pretty fair. But again, given the price action, the history, CRK needs to be on your watch list. CRK needs to be bought in this channel and at the support as of now with the stop loss around 4.4. It's a great choice. Oops, I did it again. All right, so EXL, XXX, Tentasi. No, I'm kidding. So the next one is EXL. It looks really good at this point. I called it here, and it went, I don't think so. So again, it's a nice other, I could have held it for, a month, but that's stupid. So I guess you could verify that it showed life around this area. I guess you could say this was the support or down here was a support. Well, it showed life. They could probably even be an idiot and be like, oh, look at this, that's a trend line. But that's way too far out. No one sees that. But just like with our boy CRK, obvious downtrend, and these are all connected for a reason. I mean, like, these are very close for a reason. And it finally broke above it and the support. Now it's come back to test it. The best time to buy a stock is on the first pullback, which was right here. Like, it went up and it pulled back. This may be the first big pullback, as we see. It may do like a and then go up, right? We want to see possibly some strength building up. I haven't seen the indicators. I do this live with you guys. I just chart the stuff. I haven't checked the indicators. We'll see. If these are kind of showing some divergences or it's really pulling back, it could be a really good buy. But this support, again, is just a fantastic stop-loss area, right? This in the downtrend, it's only 3.6% away. If you want to go long here, you're not risking too much. And I think if it really is going to start breaking this downtrend and kind of come back in this channel, it could be really, really good. Let's check the indicators. Yeah, so see, this is the issue with EXL. First thing that's great is it respected the 50 MA and it broke above it. Now, it also respects the 200 highly, and that's coming close. So, I mean, you're going to have potentially some coiling. It's going to come down to which one it respects more. Usually it's the 200. I mean, you can see it breaks the 50 a bunch, but the 200's like, I don't effing think so, big fella, and breaks it constantly. Like here, these are confusing ones because you never know if it's actually the 50 or the 200, right? But that's definitely, again, the 50 or 200, I don't know. You never know. But that gap up is definitely because of the 200. You see how it skipped both of them? Yes, that's a sign that respects both of them for sure. So you're going to possibly get some coiling. What I could see happening, because the stochastic's so high and the RSI is overbought, it may do a little pullback to about 1950 and then take off. But again, this indicators are not really in your favor, but the price action and the value is. So I would definitely watch list it, maybe put some type of indicators on, maybe do some volume alerts, maybe a price alert above a certain area. EXL is a good one for the future, but I would definitely wait a little bit to see what the stock has in mind. GERN, as I've called before, GERN is a fantastic example of how sometimes stocks don't do what we want. We had bought in over here, like right about here, and we were waiting for it to go up and went and just died on us. So we bought in, it was like, money, and then it's like more money, and then it died. So again, it happens. I have red days too. It happens. But we have a good value because it died there. It came up into our channel. It went 7%, and now it's back down. Do you consider this a double bottom? I guess, because I would consider wicks to wick one, and I guess body to body also kind of counts. So this is a good sign of, like, you know, it moved up, short life, bounced back down. Again, be careful because we have this downtrending line, and these all add up for a reason. These wicks are never on accident. Now this one broke above it and died. So again, you know, it kind of broke that pattern a little bit, but the line is still there. You have a trend line and a support. Those are my favorite kinds of plays. And I mean, if it lives here, you can easily see at least 3.7%, which, you know, it's enough money to then buy into another stock. And if you lose, you broke even. At least 6%, and then hopefully we're aiming for at least 13 and hopefully more if it keeps going. Now, I will say this isn't an ascending triangle. It's just a very slow-moving one, right? Like, it got higher, low, higher, low, higher, low. And that's still a higher low than over here, so I've not lost faith yet. But let's check the indicators. The price action looks good. The indicators look good. I mean, RSI, see now it's white. We'll see what helped green. So the RSI was recently oversold and it had life there. Historically looking, RSI, see you are oversold here, you made a little bit of money. So it looks like it does good from anywhere from, like, you know, 36 and below. Stochastic can get lower, but again, it looks like this is a really nice slow moving stock. You know, like, it kind of takes its time. It kind of takes 3 or 4 days of bulling up, but it also does have some very sharp reversals, like bink, and then it comes back up. So I'd be very careful on jumping the gun on this one. You may be stuck holding money for 4 or 5 days. But Stochastic is oversold. If it gets a little bit lower, it'll be great. MACD can't get too much lower, but again, it's consolidating, meaning there should be a move coming soon. But it usually gets around this point in the RSI and the MACD and turns around. So that looks good. Both EMA lines are pretty far away. We're talking a good 6%. So if there's are going to be resistances, they're in the future. But GERN, I guess, for today is a good value and potentially a really good play for you. GIS, General Mills. It loves these volume lines. Now, I do not condone or support someone who uses these exclusively as resistances and supports, because they're not. Now, some stocks treat them that way, and every stock is different. But I could also argue that this area right here is a support area, like right here, and maybe like right about here, you know, anywhere in this area, and it's just happens to be near that. So I wouldn't take that as a massive, a massive thing. I mean, the volume area matters, but not always. It's definitely a support, though. Like, it definitely follows that. And it's at the support. So it's down here. You definitely have a little bit of room to drop. We're talking 0.59%. The channel is 2% away, so it depends on how far down you want to go. Is this a stretch? Kind of. I mean, it's definitely like reaching back for a trend here. But folks who do long-term trends do see this. So if it drops off more, great, you get a better deal on it. But this is definitely a channel play with just a little bit of regularity above it and below it. But these are long-term. I mean, this is 14 days. This area was like 2 months. This was a few days. So you definitely have some chance of it being a channel completely across. Just like the other ones, we find value and we find trends in stocks before they pop. This is still technically downtrending. So I think your maximum profit of a turnaround today off the bat would be about 4% on this move. But again, we're waiting for it to be bought in, break that, come down, test it, and go off. Like, we want to see something like this. If we're like right here, we want to see this happen, come down, it tests that, and then it goes off. That's going to be the play from where we are right now. Because you can see any of these downtrends in these areas, like over here. If we like match these up like that, the downtrending, you can see that. It went, big candle, then boom, and took off, right? That's what we're looking for, is a play like this, right? So at a great value like this, it's a good channel play. I mean, overall, we're talking easy 8%. And this moves slower. It's a good beginner stock. It doesn't go too crazy. But again, it's a good, safe investment. Let's check the indicators. Again, because it is downtrending, we're looking for value. Both EMAs are above it. I mean, we've had a lot of green recently. This is going to be a trend for some of these. Some days it's better, some days it's worse. The volume is tiny right now, so I think this candle could do anything it wants. It still has a lot of differences. You will see when it has big candles, it usually signifies a reversal. So that's a huge one right there, and it kept going. That's a reversal candle. So look out for, that's a reversal candle, right? Uptrend, big volumes, downtrend. So look for volume over 1.8 million. You should be able to see some good stuff if that happens. Stochastic can get a little bit lower, but both that and the RSI are basically oversold. It has a little bit of room to drop. MACD can't get too much lower either. So it looks like you're going to have some resistances from your EMA lines, but again, as the price drops, those will drop with it. They'll bounce around, those will start to kind of even out, and when those become takeable and like overtakes those, that's when we make a lot of money. We're getting in before people get in. That's how you swing trade properly. GIS looks like a pretty good trade. It's a great value, good channel. I would definitely go long if I saw a little bit of life. So I called HZO earlier. I called it in this channel. That's why I was there when I looked at it. I called it here, and boy, oh boy, we're up 8% so far. Why am I calling it again? Well, this is an ascending triangle, okay? Now, is there a chance that this trend line is going to break lower? Possibly, because you need to take into consideration, we don't truly know which trend line is going to be the one it goes off of. There's definitely a chance that this is the trend line, like this, right? That's definitely a possibility, like with one little crack, but then these three also hit, and that fourth one also hits. And that's the case, you have definitely enough room for it to come back down. So we do not know for sure if this is going to be that, but it's a very strong trend line. So with ascending triangles, these break, and they break hard, and they go up. Now it's acting like this 70% volume area is definitely a resistance, but you easily have another 5 or 6% running in the meantime. Now, if it dies here, great. Then you can just buy back in at that support at $32, where the channel will probably hit it, and you go long again. But there's also an equally strong chance this is going to keep going. Now, I'm guessing with the indicators, they're going to both be kind of exhausted, hence this candle wick. They may pull back a little bit, but keep an eye on HZO. When this thing busts out of this channel and goes long, it's going to go crazy. Let's check the indicators. So as I suspected, you don't get it both ways. You're not really going to get many plays where you have it above all three EMA lines and the indicators look good. Those are rarities. Now, those are like really good stocks that have like a pretty bad week or two and they really get sold off. But regularly with your reality, you're not going to have them all be in your favor. It's above the 50 EMA line, which it respects. As you can see, it respects it highly. It also respects the 200. So keep that in mind. It is above both of those, but your 200 is a pretty good distance away. Also mentioning what I said about the trend lines, that is also a pretty strong case for why it may be a flatter ascending triangle, because it seems to respect the 200 equally as much. So this is a little bit of an aggressive trend line, so keep that in mind. The support areas here, if you go long tomorrow, you cut there, it's a 4% loss, and you can rebuy in if you need to. RSI is high, stochastic is high, MACD finally crossed over. That's why MACD is big worthless, because it's like, oh, we're here, boys, we're in this party. Like, you just missed the 8% move. I got to find a different indicator for that. If y'all got a suggestion for a better indicator than MACD, let me know. I think it's big dumb. Or I'm not reading it correctly, but I'm pretty confident I am. So I will look into that. It looks pretty good. So indicators, EMA lines on your side, stochastic, and RSI aren't. So if you like one more than the other, take that into consideration. But HCO will make a big move eventually. Get in before it takes off without you. NTES, NetEase Inc. Adder sponsored. Oh, it's my favorite song. Just kidding. So as we can see, it has a really beautiful channel the last like 5-6 months here. I'm sure you can attach these if you wanted to some degree and be like, well, it's ascending. But like, again, is it? It looks more like I'd be forcing it. It looks more like a channel play. I'm sure you could probably come over here though. Yeah, see, there's no perfect one. We don't mess with it unless it's really good looking. So it's definitely having higher highs. But as of recently, it has a higher low. So that's showing a little bit of death on that one. And we got to watch out for it to break above this line. This will be your indication that you really have some good life going when it breaks above that. As you can see, this is higher volume, 400 million, but it gaps a lot, so that may freak some of you out who really don't like that. But again, historically, gaps get filled. So when it gaps down, it gaps up, it got filled. See how that wick and this candle hit that? It gaps down, it got filled, right? So gaps do get filled, and that could be a good setup for you because it did gap down over here. And there's been some gaps that it wants to fill back up that are higher. They had a huge sell-off. It had earnings go crazy, and then it's like, whoa, Nelly. So it's kind of evened out towards the support area. Anywhere in this channel is a fair price, but be careful. It can break below it, and that is an additional 2.5%, so that should be your area of stop loss. Anywhere in here, I'm sure the ATR indicator would agree with that. Worst case, and I guess best case if you wait, is buying it around 80 bucks. If that's the case, I would go stupid long because we're talking easily 25% full move. But it looks like it's good price action. It's a great channel. I mean, you have a head and shoulders over here. That's why it broke down like that. And you have kind of like a head and shoulders over here, but that looks kind of like a goofy one. You could also argue double bottom right here. So that's why technical analysis can be so confusing. But that's definitely a double bottom. Boop, boop. So that looks pretty good too. Let's check the indicators. So they look pretty all right. Again, these two are meeting up together. The 250, that's going to be a strong resistance to break. And you can see it does respect both of them pretty well. It respects the 50 for sure. 200, it seems to just respect a lot as well. Well, kind of breaks through it a little bit. I guess the 200 is not as important as the 50 for this. Stochastic's oversold, RSI 36. So folks who scan on FinViz and that, they're oversold as 40. So it'll start popping up on theirs. And the MACD, the redhead stepchild of my graph is, can get a little bit lower. So it looks pretty good. Indicators are on your side besides the EMA lines. But given the price action and the gaps I want to have get filled up here, I think you should go long when it shows a little bit of life and breaks that orange downtrend line for sure. Next is PLNT, Planet Fitness. So I guess with the COVID stuff, they're doing okay. It's kind of effed up that, like, you know, they almost doubled their profits since disease started. Whatever, I'll keep it to myself. Too late. So we have some it's obviously higher lows as time has gone on. Again, you could always, you know, semantically break this down, and some folks do that and they'll break it down and be like, well, it's still technically alive. I don't do that. I keep it as pure as possible. This trend line, it tapped 3 times. I do not consider it a trend until 3 times has certainly survived. And so if it lives here, then we have a possible trend line. This is just saying there's a good chance this is a trend line. Now you do have a resistance for sure in this area, like that. There's no accident that this candle wick tapped that. You know, that's exactly why it's planned that way. Like, that's how price action works. So we have some room to run. We have easily another 10% to get some more money, but there is a chance, this is still uptrending, that this is going to be the peak and it comes back down, and it also may start consolidating and making a channel up here. But it's showing life. You know, it's not like a bullish engulfing candle or anything, but this is a strong support area. You know, you have a good stop loss if these two things break. You cut it right, you know, 71 and some change, was $72 is totally fine if it doesn't live there. So you have a little bit of risk. 2.5 for 10, that's a 4 to 1 trade. It's a good setup. Let's check the indicators. And they look okay. The stochastic is showing bullish divergence. Almost. Ooh, it's almost. So if these don't match up, that's when you know it's divergence. So we'll go from right here. And again, the problem is we cut through, so I can't use that. So we'll have to use like this candle. And if that's the case and come over and it lives, you can see that this is technically, the right side's lower than the left side. So that's divergence. But again, that's really a sloppy one. It's technically there, but it's not fantastic. So I would consider it, but I wouldn't put too much weight into it like a usual one that we see. Like over here is a great one. Like this to here, right? Like right here to here, but then here to here was definitely a divergence, right? That's noticeably lower, that's way higher. That's showing like strength for sure. So I would consider that a divergence. The 50 EMA is below it, that's supporting it. It also respects the 200, which is also below it. And this is a rarity because it's at 47, which is a fair price, and the stochastic is oversold. So this is saying it's gearing up for a move. I don't see bearish divergence. I see maybe, again, you can consider that it, but like, again, at that point, you're kind of cutting through peaks to get there, so I wouldn't trust that. So the indicators look pretty good. Planet Fitness, PLNT, it has really good price action, and again, the indicators are on your side for it to keep going up. PTGX, Protagonist Therapeutics. I'm A1 at reading today. I'm killing it, dog. So a beautiful trend up. Now I did lower it Okay, I did say and fudge the numbers a little bit, because if I were to go perfectly across here, you would see it technically. You can see, I'll do it again, no edits, hashtag one taking. You can see it technically broke it right a few times, but again, it broke it a few times and lived. So I am cool beans just doing this channel. So it looks pretty good. You can also probably connect the peaks a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. So you definitely see it's possibly wedging from up here. So there it is. So it's definitely wedging, so take that in consideration. You're probably going to make no more profits than where this wedging line is as it gets higher, which is fine. There's plenty of room away. So that's a support area. That's going to be your cutting area. If it doesn't live, you're going to cut at 1943. 2.8%, you'll take that. It's a good risk. If it doesn't live, you just buy in at this 70% channel area, and it's holding there. You buy in right there, and you're good to go. But as of now, we're talking easily to our first resistance, 9%, easy. Best case, 22%, possibly 30%. You're betting some good money here. I don't see any bad, I don't see anything bad. I see maybe a technical double top, but that's not perfect. There's no head and shoulders going on, really. It looks really good. Let's check the indicators. And surprisingly, this is a pretty good one. It broke the 200 EMA, which I'm not concerned about because it did that every time. Like, it broke it here and lived. It broke it here and lived. And it broke it here, and hopefully it's going to live. RSI is 37. That's a great deal. Stochastic is getting low, which is really, really good. And it looks like you could definitely say that's a divergence, because this is a big steep thing, but this is actually even across the board. So it's technically a divergence. It's a weak one because it's not perfect, but that's okay. And then MACD can't get much lower. Shut up, MACD, I hate you. So this is a great setup. PTGX, Protagonist Therapeutics, is a great pickup. Last and certainly not least, because that's MACD, I'm funny, is YEXT, YEXT Inc.com. As we can see, it likes to break the 70% channel area and it comes down. Now, I expect you to do your own fundamentals on this because this earning play slaughtered it, which is fine. But this thing's reversal looks kind of like that, doesn't it? Like, slaughtered, bowl shape. Oh, slaughtered, bowl shape. Especially this, slaughtered, bowl shape. Right? I mean, if you were to buy in the best time on this earnings play, you would have made 26%. So, I mean, that's nothing to, laugh at. So, I think it's showing life at the exact, see how similar that is? It showed exact same life as it did before, and it's really starting to round around. That's not an accident. Like folks see this. So I would be comfortable buying in anytime now because that's only 3.7% away. I would hate to give that up, just being, trigger happy. But again, I would definitely wait for it to show some life. And then again, this is one of those things where it's kind of like, well, where do you even connect the downtrends at? I guess you could do that. Again, it's such a harsh sell-off. It's not really a good indicator what's going on. But I think that given just the similar shape of this sell-off to this shape sell-off is not an accident. And this thing does have bowl-like shaping and cup and handle shaped kind of reversals. So it's going to come back eventually. It's not going to break 1436. So that's your concern. I'd be okay. So I'd buy in anytime. If it does break that, it's going to drop probably down to about 12.9, and you don't want to hold that. But again, this is very good technicals. That's a giant cup and handle play on the large screen, right? Cup, handle, kerchoo, So RSI is oversold. It wasn't even oversold over here. So it's an even harsher sell-off than it was over there. Stochastic was like, curl and die. So it can't get much lower. It's going to curl eventually. And then MACD is stupid. I hate you. God, I hate it. So it looks like this is, the divergences don't matter because it's such a sell-off. The EMA lines are so far away, they're not going to be a resistance for the next 12%, so I wouldn't worry about those for the meantime. But YEXT is a great setup if it shows life, for sure. And there you have it, 10 plays you can play tomorrow, Wednesday, and have confidence in. I'm not flexing, but the other 2 days worth of calls, we only have one red one. It has been a greenish market. Yesterday wasn't that green, though. And so it looks like, we're still batting about 80% on our wins, which is really good. I like all these plays. I'm not the biggest fan of big sell-offs. I really like when supports and channels meet. Those are my favorite plays. So with that being said, if you need anything else, please let me know. Comment down below whatever you may have for questions. I'll post this video and my video about validation and how to watch stocks and how I like check to make sure I'm still good. That's coming today or tomorrow as well. Otherwise, have a good rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you guys next time.